What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Cast 5 Reviews. This time around, we are reviewing episode 2 and 3 of Moon Knight. And I'm joined today by my wonderful castmates, Rohan and Daniel. What's going on, everyone?
What's up, guys?
Hello.
This man always, hello.
Hello. A little cheery from coming back from your physio, man, but you made it. You're alive. Good job.
How was the physio? Hurt?
It hurt. It always does. Especially finds new ways to inflict pain.
Great, I love it.
It helps things get better. So
Hey, man, we're not that type of channel, man.
Bring on the pain. Well, actually, Moon Knight's all about pain, so, delivering their vengeance and justice. So, I don't know about this. Just giving more content as much as we possibly can.
Whole lot of ass whooping was going down in these episodes, man.
100%, right?
Like, dude, the show just keeps on rolling so fast.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, man, it gets moving, especially you two got to a lot of our points that we were speculating on, especially Daniel's end. Holy shit, man. You guys are prophetic. He's prophetic.
My predictions came true.
I know. It's quite rare.
I know. I always have these grandiose expectations of shows, and it never works out.
Your Star Wars ones are usually not even on the point either, and you're supposed to be the resident Star Wars expert with Farhad. Farhad generally is very cynical when it comes to it. You're with the budget and everything. He's like, nope, I've been screwed over far too many times. Fuck this. I don't believe anything that Kennedy person has to do with it. I don't know, man. So let's see.
He's usually right.
Yeah, Obi-Wan, man, when I found out that they cut Darth Maul completely and made it less depressing and more hopeful, I was like, really? It's the darkest time of the Jedi timeline, so okay.
No.
So
Anyway,
you didn't know?
Digressing.
Oh, well,
wow, dropping bombs.
Tangent again. We did this last time.
I am so sorry for ruining your day, but you know what?
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Disney has been really working well on these MCU shows, man. These MCU shows. But before we start, I want to let any of our new audience members or podcast listeners know that we are Cast 5. We are a group of friends that love to discuss or review video games, anime, movies, TV shows, just news in general, or topics that matter to us. And hopefully they resonate with you as well. Otherwise, this is quite pointless. We also stream on twitch.tv/cast_5, and currently we are streaming parts of Final Fantasy XIV, which is Daniel's journey through Endwalker, some of the raids. I think one of the best contests we're doing currently is Elden Ring, Farhad's second playthrough on level 1, and it is just absolutely glorious. Full copyright claims because he is just going nuts with music, and I love it. I love every single second of it. So make sure you guys check that out. But we also do a few Demon Souls streams. Daniel's first time playing through a Soulsborne game, and it's going as well as anyone would expect that has never played any Soulsborne games. It's disastrous. He's dying a lot. I love it, and it's beautiful.
Roll up, man. That's awesome.
Die and die again. A few housekeeping items for everyone.
Like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, exactly. Bleach Season 7 review is out. It came out last week, and we had a blast shooting it, and it seems like it's resonating with a lot of you guys as well, so thank you so much for continually supporting us throughout this journey. Season 8 will be coming out very soon. We're very excited for Season 8 because this is what we remember when we talk about the Arrancar arc. So me, Theo, Farhad, we are very, very excited. After Season 8, we will be taking a break from the anime itself, and we will be diving into the movies. And then we'll come back to the anime because it is going to be Captain Amagai. It's a filler season. Theo has never seen it. Farhad has. Farhad is a lot more excited than he was for the Bound seasons, and I couldn't care less because I honestly, there's a few episodes that I like. Otherwise, it is what it is. But that would be excellent. We also released 2 react videos last week, which is for Stranger Things Season 4 and Kingdom Hearts 4. Actually, the entire Kingdom Hearts 20th anniversary announcement, and it was great. Be sure to check those out alongside plethora of content that we have all throughout our YouTube channel. So yes, please make sure to check us out on youtube.com/cast5 and make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm to have our channel go into further reaches. And while you're at it, just hit that subscribe and notification button, because why not? Listen, look at Daniel's face. Look at his face. He's not getting the content he's getting from Star Wars. So show him some love. Hit that subscribe button, and then we'll go from there. And Rohan's face is the highest viewed video. His face is on the thumbnail. So the more you hit that subscribe button, the more you hit that notification button, the more I promise you we will use his face. So please go ahead. And lastly, I do want to say that for those that have been with us for the last 4 months or newcomers that are joining, we do have patreon.com as well. Help us grow our community. Let's build a community around this channel. And as always, members will get exclusive content. Now that I've said all my spiel out of the way, let's jump into the topic of this video, which is Moon Knight episode 2 and 3. I'm going to start with Rohan here because he made a comment last time when we shot episode 1. He made a comment about the costume. Now, there are 2 costumes in these episodes. What are your thoughts about that? Because it comes off, comes back on. You can see Oscar Isaac's face because they're paying so much money to have him. So you have to see his face. What are your thoughts, man?
It was it's actually pretty clever how they tied the different suits to the different personalities, right? So the Michael Jackson-esque white white gloves to Steve, and very comical relief stuff that happens with him, right? When he puts on his version of the suit versus Marc, which is all business and kick-ass, right? But you know what? I appreciate the suit because it just really demonstrates their personalities, right? Not only in themselves, right, and how they act, right, but the suits themselves and the characteristics it takes on. It's also very representative, actually, how their personalities are. And I thought that's a really cool take. It's really neat.
So you're digging the suits.
Yeah.
What about you, Daniel?
I like it. It's like you can tell, like the second suit. It's very like if someone tried to dress up as Moon Knight for Halloween, kind of thing. Like
I didn't think that did. That's so good.
And then the actual Moon Knight is like, you know, the badass one. But you know, there's going to be 2 Funko Pops now, right? You're going to have Moon Knight 1, Moon Knight 2.
I was gonna say, like, the merchandise side must be super happy because you have so many different type of Funko Pops, action figures, you name it, right? And yeah, I like the fact that it's very distinct. Like, you can tell which personality is taking over. Now, we don't know if there's a third personality because we feel like sometimes Marc is also losing control and Steve's not also in control. So what the hell's going on?
That was the new thing. The last episode 3.
Yeah.
Where he'd accuse Marc of doing something, and Marc's like, "Wait, me? What did you do?" But you know, Steven's non-violent, so yeah, maybe a mysterious third.
100%. Did any of you guys watch a TV show? Maybe Rohan, you have, because you seem to like a lot of these kind of shows. Have you seen Rami on Crave or HBO Max?
No.
It's about an Egyptian Muslim comedian, and he's talking about like how his I know you know who he is because we've seen some of his jokes together. Rami Youssef. And he has second season, he brought in Mahershala Ali, and he's on this path to discover enlightenment through Islam and like find out what Islam means to him. And he's a comedian, so you can only imagine this man's living in America, trying to like live a life of a proper Muslim where he feels as proper by he just wants to fall in love, just gets married, and he starts realizing he's like, this is not what it is. This is whether I fast, whether I do whatever, it's not gonna work out. It's actually won a couple of awards. It's a really funny show, especially season 2 with Mahershala Ali. But it has his sister is played by the same character that is Lila. So May Kalamawe, and she's from Bahrain, and she's supposed to be Egyptian in this particular one show. So I like the fact that they are taking recognizable Middle Eastern born individuals and like not
Connecting
just
them.
exactly not just like typecasting and so forth, because like even with the SNL monologue that Oscar Isaac had, he straight up said it. He's like, I'm half Cuban, half I forgot the
There's
other half.
3 different ones.
Yeah, so but they took the 2 names that sounded the most white,
2 ones.
and I can play a Middle Eastern guy, or I can be in Britain with a British accent, or I can play Timothée Chalamet's daddy. So it makes no difference. I have a wide range when it comes to it. But I like a lot of the
What was
key.
this joke? It was like a priest, a rabbi, and
Yes,
something else. Walk
priest,
into a bar.
and
I can play all 3.
I can play all 3 of them. So I'm liking the fact that a lot of the stuff that the characters that they're using are genuinely not just typecast, but they are from the descendants of what they're saying. So Disney is doing a good job in representation, which Miss Marvel is Pakistani. So I mean, I
did like that his fake name when they went to go visit the stuff. His last name, Estrada, that's his actual last name.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac Hernandez Estrada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really liking these kind of small little tidbits. Although I don't think I enjoyed episode 3 as much as you seem to have, Daniel. So we'll definitely chat about that. But on that note, let's start with episode 2. What are your thoughts? Like, what? Because we missed the deadline for 2 when we wanted to do it because work-life balance. But now since we're doing a double take, what did you guys think of 2? Rohan, let's start with you.
No, 2. I liked how like 2 got into Marc's side of things, especially this hits on Daniel's perspective or prediction, really. And I was really taken aback at how quickly they just got into that side of things of Marc, and then it was but the interplay between Marc and Steve, right, when like you evolution into a reflection, right, and you constantly see Steve trying to take over and stop him from like killing everything, killing everyone. But like one thing I actually wanted to see, maybe they'll do it later on, like in later episodes, is like see Steve's or the world that Steve's currently in and Marc was trapped in, right, whenever he actually gets out. I want to see like what that's actually like, right? Because apparently like it's like it messes with you mentally and whatnot, right? But Marc is who we probably expected, right? He's like a badass. He's like go go go, like a very like methodical and like and the stuff that he does, right? But I'm very interested in seeing the that the mystical world, right? That they get trapped in, right?
So the
When first they
subconscious
get
realm, like the shadow
yeah,
realm of
I
Yu-Gi-Oh.
want to see like it's like because like is that where kind of where like the also maybe the Egyptian gods also reside maybe a little bit, right? And then you can see some really I don't know. That's just that was just me. I kept on wanting to see like that perspective, right? When either person is like trapped in that realm, right? But oh gosh, it's been a minute. I should have like rewatched a little bit of the episode to actually just get a refresher. But that was the most that was the thing that stood out to me the most that I kept on like thinking about when I actually watched episode 2.
What about you, Daniel?
I liked it. Like what Rohan said is like I wanted to have the Marc perspective, but I just didn't think it would happen on the second episode. I was thinking like it's 6 parts. I figured end of episode 3 maybe we'd get to that point. But see it like right off the bat, second episode, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Like, definitely like having him switch places and seeing everything from his perspective and learning more about his backstory was interesting. And Rohan made a good point when we were discussing it previously, when we were having a chat. We found out more about Marc and how like the mercenary and everything that he was or is, but we don't really know. And this is the other thing is you brought up is he's taking over Steven's body, or so we think, but whose body is it actually? Is it Marc's or is it Steven's? Because Marc has a whole backstory and a life. Steven kind of does, but we only really know his story for like the last maybe like year of his life, really.
Especially when it comes down to about he mentioned his mom multiple times. Does she even exist? Right? And if it is somebody else's body, how many personalities are trapped? Is this like a split kind of thing where, you know, at the end of the day, who was the actor that played it? Oh my God, I'm going to forget. But
James McAvoy.
Yes, James McAvoy just enters in and he just goes, "I am the one." You know, this is one of the beast. This is one of my personalities at the end of the day. And at the same time, I'm also Professor X. Tune in to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. But yes, I do agree with you. It's I like the fact that we're kind of seeing like episode 1 was Steve, episode 2 is Marc, episode 3 was a mix of more Khonsu and seeing like the god realm and so forth. They're not really giving that much time to Arthur, but they kind of gave him also the backstory of, yeah, he used to be the old avatar. Well, guess what? All these gods are still here and these are all avatars, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. I'll talk about my gripes afterwards, but let's jump into episode 3 then. The journey to Egypt, and I was really hyped for it because like the music and everything was very sorry, go ahead, Rohan.
But we did actually skip over in episode 2 where we learned that Khonshu is. Well, we learned it from Marc that Khonshu is interested in taking over Lila.
Well, yes,
for another person, like as an avatar.
Right. So I was actually going to dive into that with the Egyptian part that I was going to mention, but we'll skip forward and we'll talk about that. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Khonshu needs an avatar. He's going to use Lila if in case Marc's gone. They're apparently married. So that's a fun story.
But it's also a way to actually keep Marc like, you know, focused, right? So like, hey, you need to get things done or else. There's that kind of aspect of it. When I actually when I was like taking in that interaction, when they actually mentioned that, I was like, damn, I thought they were friends. I guess maybe not so much.
But that's the thing though, right? Like Khonshu, is he just a god in that sense? Because like in Greek mythology, gods are assholes. Norse mythology, gods are assholes, right? Like it's just in general, they do whatever they need to do to get the job done, right? Even in a lot of the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 13, gods are a huge element to it. And the fact is that they will imprint you and they will give you a vague message to go do whatever it is that they want you to do, will not give you any other help, right? And you just got to figure out, if you don't, guess what? You die. So you become a monster, but yes, it's death, essentially. So like gods, generally speaking, in a lot of medium like that, they don't tend to be very nice gods. They're not like Thor. They're not going around helping people. But I agree with you. The element with Khonshu and what his relationship is, especially why did Arthur forsaken Khonshu and join Amit?
Hero? You mean, was it Hero or was it Arthur?
Yeah.
His name's like Arthur.
Hero? Arthur?
Arthur Hero. Yeah.
Oh, Arthur. Oh, Arthur.
Last name is Hero. Yeah. So is he like what he says it that I want?
You broke me, and
your torment's the reason you made me who I am right now.
Yes.
Right. So that like
his villain origin story.
Right? So what exactly, like how much of an asshole is Khonshu? He doesn't seem like an asshole. He seems like a very much like, yeah, I gotta do some like, you know, some duties and stuff, but fuck, I really want to go down to the beach, sit down, have a couple of beers. All right, man, just go past judgment on this guy. Like he seems very mellow, especially on episode 3 when he's just sitting on top and just kind of like chilling with his leg out. He's like, yeah, just drag him down. Well, push him over the edge. He'll talk. And it's like praise to Amit, and the kid just cuts off the tie and dies, or the scarf and dies. He's like, I really thought he would talk. Right?
Oops.
No, that's like a very like was it dismissive of life kind of thing, right? Like that gods tend to be, right? They don't care what happens to mortals most of the time, right?
It's peasants, right?
Yeah, but
I forgot where this quote is from, but would you care about what an ant thinks? I think maybe it's for MCU.
yeah, it is. That was from when Loki was trapped in the
Sounds like a Loki line.
yeah, he was trapped in like that. Oh God, what's his name? Oh God, he was trapped, and
Talking to
Fury
Scarlet.
was like, Fury was like, "Hey, are you planning on stepping
Boot
on us?"
and
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
that's
that
it.
that's where it's from. Yeah,
Right. So
the first Avengers,
right.
Yeah.
So like, and okay, this brings me to my point when it comes down to gods and stuff. I know that it's always difficult to expand a universe and bring in different entities and then turn around and try to sort of retcon, but also explain why they were not part of a lot of things. And we're noticing this in Eternals, noticing in Thanos, even like What If mentioned it a few times. And now this is the same fucking thing, is that, we are forbidden to ever step into
We don't
metal.
interfere in the affairs of man. We decided long ago that we're not going to interfere.
So
Because it's a cop out, man.
It's the go-to line.
yeah, we were casted out, and now we choose not to be part of all of this. Like, really? Motherfuckers coming down and just wiping down half of life throughout the entire universe. And you're like, nah, it's cool. We still got the other half. I'm gonna sit on this beach and get somebody else to do my dirty work. I don't know why I'm thinking about the beach so much. Maybe it's a Jamaica vacation. I kind of miss it. But yes, it's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. But speaking of that, having all these gods and so forth, I'm gonna pose a question to you guys, because I don't think we're really need to dive into exactly episode 2 and episode 3 what they really did. There's one element of episode 3 I really want to discuss. Unless you guys want to do a quick summary, I can do that as well.
Okay, go for your question.
Go for a question. Okay. The fact that Khonsu in episode 3, FYI, first time joining us, full spoilers. The fact that Khonsu just changed the astrological charts for the solar system to go back 2,000 years. And this is not something that just they're seeing. A lot of people are seeing. Wouldn't that have ramifications on Earth, especially when the lunar cycle controls the waves? So you're essentially fucking up oceans and everything. So isn't that an Avengers level event? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like one side.
Sorry,
Go ahead, Ryan.
Sorry, my bad. It's like, because if it's actually like it was just something that Marc and the people like Khonshu and them were just specifically seeing in that area, it'd be one thing. But you see her and like his like minions, whatever, and potentially the rest of Egypt is also seeing this happening. Then if Egypt can see it, then why not the rest of that hemisphere could be seeing this, and thus the planet? Yeah, this is an Avengers level kind of thing. So at least maybe even what's it called? A shield to be like, something messed up is going on with this.
Will be flying into the scene.
Yeah, like something just to like investigate or something.
Yeah, like
the stars are moving. Okay, let's go check this out.
And as he said, and Steve said this too, and between the two, I'm gonna pose another question to you guys afterwards. Steve said it. That stars tend to gravitate away, so it doesn't make a much difference in the grand scheme of things. But for us, that would be miles difference. So if you really want to pinpoint, we've got to figure this out somehow. So I'm like, okay, so it's not an Avengers level threat, and that line itself is becoming very murky. because we know that Doctor Strange is going to be dealing with multiverse. So if he himself is dealing with the multiverse, what is an Avengers level threat now? Like, how do you define that? Right? Because Loki he was dealing with also multiverse, right? He's destroyed the timeline. So like there's so many different elements that are going on now, and it's just like, okay, so why would people need to like now assemble? What was the whole point, right? Was it just to stop Thanos? But are we now gonna also retcon Thanos like from at the end of Eternals? It seems like, yeah, maybe he was doing this to kind of stop these elder gods, right? And I don't know, man. Like some of the stuff, I'm just like, okay, I'm in, but I also know everything is connected. So how exactly are you going to explain it? Because it's getting harder and harder and harder for me to make sense of it. I'm sure, obviously, I'm not a writer for MCU, so these guys get paid a lot more than we ever do. So I'm sure they'll figure out a way to justify a lot of the shit, and multiverse seems to be the answer towards everything that they're doing. Or the flip side would be it's just mental health, Joker style, and this is all in his head. Right?
You think they would actually go that route?
To retcon it within the same, if like let's say if there's another season 2 of Moon Knight and he's not an character that would make it to the movies, he might be a side character that might show up in different places, kind of thing. Then I can turn around and see them saying, yeah, FYI, he's in the institution. This was all in his head. And we're trying to figure it out. Like straight up Shutter Island doctor, like Arthur Hathaway is actually a doctor that's dealing with him and all that. Like that, I can see that twist happening as well, because how do you explain this? Because like this is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, especially with, okay, Arthur... I'm sorry, I have to ask because now I'm like going on that down the road, so I have to ask. Arthur Harrow, what's his name? Harrow.
Arthur Harrow. Yeah.
Yes, Ethan Hawke's character. He said, no matter what happens, don't stop digging. Okay? And then he followed like Oscar Isaac's character, Steve and Marc. He followed them twice to the sarcophagus and also to the trial. So I'm like,
he was summoned to the trial, though.
Yeah. That's fine.
He knew it was going to happen, and he's like,
100%.
I gotta go.
100%. But in my head, I'm just like, who cares? You're summoning Amit anyways. Just do it. Like, you're literally there. So who cares? Because even if right now you're like, no, FYI, this man is severely ill. There's no such thing like, Khonsu is going around and doing all this business and blah, 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 right? But then you're going to summon Amit anyways. You don't give a fuck. So why did you even bother?
I think he still needs to deal with the consequences of the other gods. He can't ignore them. Right?
So why the sarcophagus? Holy fuck, I can't see it.
When he goes that Layla's
Black market,
to the black market seller guy, right, that she was dating or something, and then Harrow shows up to actually destroy the sarcophagus so they wouldn't find where Amit was actually being held or whatever. Right?
Yeah. Why even bother going back and forth like that? Just focus on digging the site and just get Amit out, or send your henchmen. Like, you personally don't have to go everywhere he's going. To me, it felt like they were like, yo, we're paying a lot of money to Ethan Hawke to be in here, so we gotta figure out a way to put him in different places, because he kills it every time he's on screen. Like, I like him. And
so you're saying there's not much real like point to the interaction of like him going to certain places, especially that sarcophagus being sold, right? That black market thing. But it just gave more
point. Yeah, in a way, like he was like Khonsu's. He knows Khonsu's out to stop him, by any means necessary, and he's already served with Khonsu as his puppet,
his avatar,
and so his avatar, So it's like maybe it's a bit personal for him, and he knows he's out just to he's already dealt, and he says at the beginning like Khonsu is his villain origin backstory. Like, you messed me up so much that I've decided that this is what I have to do, and I'm gonna go serve a new god and everything else like that. And he knows and he also knows how powerful Khonshu is with his avatars. So that maybe he's like, okay, like I need to deal with this to stop them from messing with my plans.
Excellent.
And it's personal because.
Excellent point. So why didn't he go collect Steve and Marc or Lila in the very first place? Why did he send two goons that impersonated as cops? Because later on he could have sent them to the sarcophagus cellar.
Oh, but I think for that's when he started noticing that it wasn't Marc all the time and it was Steven. Because even their first interaction, he decided because he jumped back and forth, right? He be Moon Knight and kill a bunch of his henchmen. Then he jumped back into, Steven from the museum, Steven from the gift shop, and he's like, okay, this is something different. Something's going on.
Right.
This isn't the regular guy.
Right.
So that's
what
why
I'm saying.
he invited him to try and show him. He's like, look,
Right.
we're not evil. Like let's me and you talk. Nice guy to nice guy villain. And be like, you don't have to do what this big evil guy is telling you to do. Like, this is all new and fresh for you. Let me do an orientation. Trying to incorporate him into his cult effectively. But
I agree.
Obviously,
I agree.
Marc keeps butting in, and yeah.
I completely agree. So then he sends two goons to go collect him, knowing that the guy's broken, and then Marc can easily switch over and everything. But when they go to the black market, he chooses to go there because of what? Because he destroys the sarcophagus anyways, right? That it wasn't like the coordinates that they were talking about. Another way of saving it. He didn't need to be there to do a little bit of magic to show the seller that
the black market guy,
right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like his purpose there didn't make any sense, especially if Marc and Steve were such a high risk target that he had to be there himself. All right, understood. Then why did you just send two fake cops to go collect them? Like that's what I'm having a little bit of a hard time. Like Ethan Hawke appeared very creepy in episode 1. He felt like a cult leader. He felt like this man. Yeah, we wanted to know his backstory and everything, but he felt like he dangerous, essentially dangerous. Like he knows a lot more. He has these weird powers. We don't understand because we're seeing it from the eyes of Steven. Then in episode 2, he seems a bit more empathetic because now we understand his backstory a bit because he served under Khonshu. And in episode 3, he just seemed like a ragtag, uncharted villain who's going from point A to point B to stop your hero at point C, and then go back to point B, and then go back to point A, and then go back to C. It's like, just stick to what you're doing, man. You're trying to, you have your tomb found. Focus on that. Put every single resource you have. You don't have to go give a speech. You don't have to go figure it out. But this is just my take.
Yeah.
So I mean, it felt a bit
Marvel too, right? Like that's definitely what they're gonna do. It's not. They're always gonna pitch like the main characters against each other. If they use logic all the time, they'd be like the main character, like the main villain, would be hiding off doing their own thing, and they'd just be sending henchmen to do everything. I mean, you kind of saw that with Thanos because he sent his goons, like especially with like the last movie and. When the Hulk can't become the Hulk, and he's like, "You're embarrassing me, man." They're fighting basically the goons. Thanos is off doing his own thing. He doesn't care. He's like, that's small picture stuff.
Exactly.
So they kind of did it a bit, but it's typical here, Marvel, typical kind of like this kind of show where it's like, and it's
especially
similar to what you're saying too. Like they're paying for. Major
that's it. That's what it felt like. Because I know at the even at the trial scene at the very end, when he is talking to the guy's name is Khalid Abdullah, he's one of the gods that kind of restrained Steve and Marc when they were trying to attack Arthur at the trial. When he's talking to them and he's like, "Oh, he's been sealed. Can he still hear? We think so." He's still talking to them. So there's clearly a relationship there that needs to be further explored. which obviously throws a wrench in my theory that's saying maybe they're just fucking in a asylum and this is just all in his head, right? But I'm just saying, like, there's clearly a relationship already present there, and it didn't really seem like a trial. It was more like, with all the technology you have and everything, you couldn't really figure it out if in case right now, like if he's actually doing something, like his word against his word. Come on, man.
And
So
even that, like, I don't remember too much from like Egyptian history and religion when we studied. I was years and years and years ago. But there must be a god that can, like, if they have a god for like and it's that kind of like ancient religion, right, where they have a god for everything.
Yeah.
if you're
So they must have
lying, yeah,
they must have a
Yeah.
god,
God
that
of
can,
lies. Yeah.
lies.
mischief and lies. Summon
God.
Loki.
Yeah,
Figure it out. Is he lying? He's
But-
the lie detector.
but also like, and you see it in the after credits stuff where they go through the different scenes. There's only what 5 or 6 gods that were in person, but now they're showing Khonshu as a statue, but he's also surrounded by lots of other statues. So how many gods have they?
He said
Locked
it.
up.
In prison.
He said it. Yeah, in episode 1, at 9 or 11 or something, when he was talking about the poster, and he said that your poster's wrong. It's not supposed to be this
yes,
many. It's supposed to be
yes.
that many, right? So let's see. I'm very curious to see where the story is gonna go from here, because obviously the powers are gone at the end of the episode 3, and it very much appears to be the fact that it's probably could be Steve. But the question I wanted to ask you guys before, it has to do with the dynamic between Steve and Marc. Which character are you digging more?
Right. It's because the thing is, they also mentioned, right? I can't remember. I think it was episode 2, episode 3, that Steve, the one that's the original body, the original person, right, has the power to like to switch, right, to take over or to relinquish control or take over control. But Steve's actually losing that power.
Yeah, because
Right.
Marc said he's like, whoever controls the body has more control when he's looking at
Mhm.
him at the mirror.
Right, and I'm more interested in Marc, right? Because I brought this up with when I was talking with Daniel. It's like, yeah, he like was Marc. How exactly did Marc come under the influence or into the servitude of Khonshu? Like, what was that mission that caused him to like wind up in another person's body? Let alone like, what did Marc actually look like before?
You know
Right?
what
And
it
like,
reminded me
how-
of, Rohan? It reminded me of like the very first God of War, where Kratos is like at the dumps and he's about to lose, and then he just begs Ares to come and give him power, and Ares is like, "You're gonna be my bitch for the next like millennia, and go kill everybody. I'll give you the power that you want." And this seemed like very similar, where Khonshu says he's like, "Well, you were at death's door, and I saved you." So I was like, I wonder if he like maybe it
What-
was a
what-
mission gone wrong.
Yeah, or like was he always on a mission? Like, was he like
Mercenary?
already in the servitude of Khonshu when he wound up dead, and he still needed to fulfill some kind of debt or whatever else that was owed to Khonshu. So it was like, yo, put me in another person's body, and we'll keep on going. Or was it like he was doing something that Marc wasn't supposed to be doing, and then he got to the attention that brought the attention of Khonshu onto Marc, right? And like, what was the dynamic there? But there's also something very interesting about Steve. Is that you mentioned Fayez, we never actually see Steve's mom. The only other person in Steve's life, other than like the random co-workers that he has at his museum, right? The person like in terms of emotional attachment that he actually like tries to actually like
Talk to.
to talk to, besides the freaking mime person all the time. That's weird. But besides that, Steve's mom is the only other like emotional, like actual connection that we really know of with Steve, like personally.
And it's just
And,
a
like,
voicemail
so-
too, though.
And it's just we don't even hear her like respond to all his freaking voice messages that he keeps on sending her, right? So we don't even know if like that's like legit just in Steve's head,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
Is Steve's mom even alive, or like she was like she was alive, like she recently passed, and like he's just sending these messages as a way of coping, right? And maybe that's like fracturing him a little bit. You know what? They're both very interesting.
You know
Actually,
what's
when you really
funny?
look into it.
It's
You can't settle
funny.
on it, can you?
It's funny because in like 2011, 2012, Ryan, you may remember this. After watching Clannad for the very first time, and we were like after doing film school and doing like that other channel that we had and stuff, I
Mhm.
wrote a short story called Beyond. And in that one, there's a guy that is getting there's this, he's sitting at home, everything is like in dark, everything is desolate, you can tell, like, like he's been cooped up in his house for a while, he's suffering, going through dementia, dirty dishes, all this stuff. And he has the salesperson coming to his door multiple times, and he's selling insurance, life insurance. And he calls himself the insurance company was called Heavenly Insurance, and then over and over again he's trying to prove it to him that he is an angel, he's trying to sell insurance, blah 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 blah. And every single day, that whenever he comes in and he gives him a 72-hour ultimatum to say that he'll change his mind, if not, he'll give him whatever he wants. And what he wants more than anything is release, from this world. So he wants to dive in, and he wants to either commit suicide or whatever he wants, some sort of mental peace that he wants. He just wants that release. So the angel's like, I will help you with that, but give me 72 hours to see if in case you want to sign up for this insurance before. So every single day, his sister is calling him, and it goes straight to voicemail, and she leaves a voicemail every single day, and it's different. It's meant to be days, but it's actually weeks leading up to months. And the voicemails are talking about a promotion she has, and she's saying, I hope you can join us. Or it's mom and dad's anniversary is coming up. Are you going to be there? Are you listening to me? Blah, 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 blah. Like things like that she's leaving. And you find out at the very end is that those were not notes that she was leaving him on voicemail. He's actually in a hospital in a coma, and she's coming and visiting him. And in his conscious, the person that's coming and talking to him, trying to tell him not to go, not to find that release, this person that's coming and giving him, trying to sell him insurance, is the best friend he was with in the car crash, and he's the one that died, and he ended up in a coma. So his friends coming in over and over again, telling him that, like, I can save you, give me 72 hours. But the 72 hours is actually, I don't remember if it was, I think it was maybe 2 years or something like that. And at the very end, when he wakes up, he sees himself in a thing. When he accepts the insurance, he sees himself waking up, and he realizes that he was in a coma this entire time. The fact that you mentioned this is kind of funny, because it's just like this connected this story that I had when you mentioned this voicemail thing, that he's leaving notes every single time. That makes me realize he's more and more in an asylum. And I hope to God this is not the big twist, because this is literally where my mind's going. I was like, I can see
They're
Shutter
gonna
Island
end
having
the show like they ended Lost.
or even like Joker, right? Like it was all in his head. And and this is dealing with a lot of like multiple personalities and
Mental health
yeah,
issues, stuff like that.
disassociation and all that stuff. Like they're literally reaching into it. So I hope it's, if they're going to retcon and say, hey, all these gods never really existed, we don't really know if it's going to be popular. FYI, he was just getting help, and they kind of hint that too. When he gets fired, they give him the pamphlet. They're like, maybe you want to go talk to doctors. And he's like, oh yeah, they look very happy. They're talking to each other. So like, I don't know, man. Like,
You're feeling that those showrunners are giving themselves a way out of like making it too like messy, like giving a way to tie it off at the end of the day, if it's actually not popular, they could just end of the day is like, oh yeah, no, he was just in a mental asylum, and then boop, that's it. No more Moon Knight. No more need to like explain where Moon Knight went, right? He's just this guy that was crazy. This like this self-contained story, right? But if it is popular, then you could go into like the other gods and whatnot, right?
They could
That's what you're feeling. That's what you're feeling.
I feel
like,
that there's
the
far
story.
too many gods already that's been explored. Because like Eternals technically could be gods, right? Based on like their powers and stuff. Asgardians were gods. Now you have Egyptian gods. It's like how many gods are you going to introduce?
Asgardians were just advanced people. I believe that.
But like to us, like when they originally introduced this, they were technically gods, right? And that's the thing. Like these beings that are Egyptian gods, they technically could be just alien creatures in a different universe. Like, hey, they're part of Guardians of the Galaxy's team. You know, the team as Guardians, and it's like the team Egyptians. But all I'm saying is like that in itself could be perceived as, oh yeah, these were not technically gods, but they're a different race. They came down, they were more advanced, and this is what ends up happening. So they're like, hey, look, we already did what we need to do. We cannot. They're self-sustained life forms now in this world. We should not be part of and meddle with any of the affairs, and we're gonna dip. We're gonna go back to our planet because our mission's done or whatever, right? Like this happened. Invincible.
Maybe not necessarily planet, but maybe universe.
Right? Yeah, could be universe because the multiverse, 100%, right?
Right.
So they could.
I just had to check some stuff with the MCU because that was my other follow up to one of your questions. Was like, what is going on? Like, how does it impact the MCU as a whole? So we still don't know at what point in the MCU timeline this is taking place.
This is taking place.
And I just looked it up. The show creators here, they've admitted, Slater on Twitter has admitted that was intentionally left vague.
100%. 100%. Because
he claims it's somehow to do with the pandemic because Moon Knight was announced back in 2019 before the pandemic, and then filming only took place in 2021. And so they're saying either it was like a mix of with the pandemic and the show release, and we didn't know with all the other TV shows were being made, we don't know when the show's going to actually be made and go out, and there could be 5 or 6 other TV shows released by then, which happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't want to be like, this is when it happened, and then
retcon
it.
It's the same thing as it's the same thing as Spider-Man Far From Home, where they said 8 years later, but it was supposed to be 4 years later. It was messed up, so they fixed it for the digital releases and stuff. So I agree.
But they also said it was intentionally left blank, partly for like pandemic Disney purposes, but also for the story as well. So, and according to Twitter and like social media and people's predictions, on Disney's website, they're saying the time frame is after the events of Hawkeye and a year after Iron Man's Endgame snap.
Okay, so that takes out the potential of like the gods.
Hawkeye, but Hawkeye happened after Endgame.
Yeah, so just after the events of Hawkeye, but
so it's been a year
after
the blip.
Snap. The blip, yeah.
Like the coming back, not the blip. Yeah. Sorry, the coming back from the blip.
The coming back. But they've also said, we like with everything going on in the extended universe, it could be a multiverse thing, which is why we don't see the impact of everything. Like, you know how with the other shows, they'd be referencing the blip and everything else like that, and they haven't really done that in this season.
Are you saying that it could just be a consequence of like what we're seeing is just another universe, right? That just happens to have.
I mean, at this point, who
knows? Who knows? The pocket dimensions and everything.
It could do that too, man. It gives them too much power to actually do this.
They can literally but that's the thing. Like the moment they went into multiverse, they can literally retcon whatever they want and just say, "Oh, we're no longer in this universe, we're
Yeah.
on this one, or we're not on this timeline, we're on this one because the timeline is fractured now. So like they gave themselves a get out of jail free card.
Spider-Man's back, so
Oh
Plus,
my
like
gosh.
Professor Xavier is in like
Multiverse of Madness?
yeah, Multiverse of Madness is the Patrick Stewart one. He's in
Oh,
it.
that's true.
So he came out. He fully came out, and he admitted it, and he's in the trailer.
Yeah.
So okay, and
It's that.
the security around that movie is as intense as Endgame. And
Yeah.
you and I talked about this, Daniel.
they're gonna cause some like major like
Ramifications of this
changes
show.
in the
Yeah,
MCU.
100%.
That movie is just gonna shake up the entire Marvel universe, and
Because that's
knows
one of
how.
the biggest ones that are coming out after, like, obviously Spider-Man. And Spider-Man was not from there; it was from Sony, but you know what I mean,
Mhm.
right? And there was another one too. Like, I think his name is Paul Bettany, the guy that plays Vision. He was recently asked if white colored Vision or the silver colored Vision from WandaVision, if he's gonna be in Multiverse of Madness, and he didn't respond. So who knows? You know what would be amazing? I hope they kind of do this, but maybe they won't. I hope that they kind of do a cameo of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, maybe in his costume, kind of give us that
Nostalgia.
that was left behind, because like there was a perfect moment in Logan where they could have been like, oh, when he's walking away, they're in the farmhouse and he's walking away, he's carrying his daughter and he's walking away. Oh no, he's carrying Dr. Xavier and he's walking away, and the daughter's looking at him, and she always envisioned him as Wolverine with the costume and everything. So they kind of just like blurriness, just kind of like give us that yellow costume. But they never really did it, right? So I hope maybe like
You never know.
who knows who they can bring back, because they biggest property right now, they can do anything they want.
Yeah.
But back to Moon Knight, what are your
Yes.
predictions for episode 4?
Well, for episode 4, so I'm gonna go back to your previous question for a second.
Oh, Steve versus
There's
yes,
Steve and
sorry,
Marc.
yes,
Yeah, we got
But-
sidetracked.
we got
But I'm
sidetracked.
gonna,
Yeah.
no, but it's okay. I'm gonna use that for the predictions. So I like both of them, and I really like the dynamic between Steven and Layla.
Yes,
So
I
I'm interested
completely
to see if
agree.
anything comes of that in the show.
because they're hinting on something, like she feels a little bit more
Yeah.
chemistry with Steve than she does with Mark.
Yeah.
Yo, his
So
acting
I'm
though
interested. Oh, it's so good.
in the desert when he's Mark and he just like switches it to Steve and he starts putting everything together and makes a star.
He's
I
beautiful
was-
minding it.
I know, it's so good. But sorry, Daniel, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
But, so it's like I'm interested to see where that goes, but I do want to know more about Mark's backstory. I want to know how he came to be doing what he's doing, and how it works. What's the dynamic between having two of them? We still don't have those answers. We have no idea what's going on with that, and I really want that to be explored a lot more. I mean, hopefully, I'm assuming that'll be like the end season, or they decide to stick that on like a season 2 or something maybe, and then just establish that these two are a package deal. But it'd be interesting to see who is the original owner for the body and who's the invader. If it's two separate people, or it's a split personality and mental
Or it's a
malady and that
third
kind of-
person, yeah.
But yeah, the third person for sure. I want to know more about that for the next few episodes. But I do want to know how, because especially, and I know it's because it's a reflection, so it's always going to be the same face. But it'd be interesting to see if it is multiple different people in the same body. If it's actually Mark having this body and Steven is the invader, which seems to be the way going, because Mark actually has a fleshed out backstory in history and Steven doesn't.
Like something
Also,
happened and fractures
that
the
we
little
know.
brain.
So either it's the same person, or if it is two different people, can they be separated at all? And if they are separated, which actor do you think is going to play Steven? That's the other thing. So I'll be interested to see what happens with that. But yeah, the third mysterious person, I want to know who that is and how powerful they are. And Khonsu being stuck, how are they going to free him too? And who are we stuck with now? Marc or Steven? Now that Khonsu is trapped.
Yes, the
know.
last question was the one that I'm the more excited about, because I think based on whoever we're stuck with is probably the person whose body it really belongs to, because then the invader got pulled out, right? Because that would have been Khonshu's avatar. So I'm very curious to see that too. Well, we don't have to wait that long anyways, because there's only 3 episodes left, and next episode will probably with the pace that they're going is going to answer some questions.
Yeah.
So I this is just becoming.
I don't know who I'm rooting for though. I like both of them.
I personally really like Steve. I think there's just this innocence to him that it's like he doesn't understand what's going on, and he does understand, but like especially when he like there's a whole Deadpool dynamic too when he has the suit on for Moon Knight, and he's just like, everybody stop, everybody calm the F down. And he's like, take the body. So I really like that dynamic. I do want to know more about Layla. Like, okay, which I'm sure ties into Marc's backstory, because like they were married. So were they just married for the sake of being married? She feels like she's actually was in love with him, because she's like, every time I feel that I get to know you a little bit better, I find something else out. And Marc doesn't seem like he really gives a fuck at all, but he does. He does, because he's like trying to protect her over and over again, and Khonshu knows that, right? So I'm quite I'm interested to see what episode 4 will bring, because episode 4 for Loki was such a letdown. So I'm really like, I'm cautious at the moment, because episode 3 I did not feel it the way I felt episode 2, especially the hype of that when they showed Egypt and the music changed. I was like, yes, okay, this is cool, let's go, I'm all about it. It was very much, and I know you're gonna love this, Rohan, it was Prince of Persia Sands of Time vibes, man. Straight up, with the trial and so forth. Like, I fully got those vibes. And then the two thrones.
When they were running through the streets.
Yeah.
When they were chasing those guys through the streets. Yeah.
Straight up.
That was
And
pretty fun.
even the two thrones, you know, the prince has an evil side, and he has saying, like, I was like getting those Prince of Persia vibes over and over again. Ubisoft, just give us a new game, man. Come on, man. Just give us a new game. But at the same time, you know, when he was running at nighttime, when he was running on the and the jackal was chasing him, and he grabs him and throws him at the very cool scene, but he's hopping from
when they were in London still, right?
Rooftop to rooftop. You know what that reminded me of? South Park. Fucking Mysterion running up top, because Mysterion has a cape and has a thing, and he's running on top, and the goon chasing him, and he's like, the world, what was it? The world doesn't really know who I am, and some things need to remain a mystery. And he jumps up from one rooftop, lands on another, and keeps going like, what the hell's going on? So it reminded me exactly of South Park. I was like, this is great. South Park, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Prince of Persia. Where can we go wrong with the drizzle of stuff that I wrote back in the day? But this is crazy.
One thing. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, Ryan.
No. What are you saying?
Go.
No, I was about to say, like, maybe they would actually go into Arthur Harrow and might actually explain or show the messed up stuff, because like, as badass as Marc is, right, and as capable as is, and like the mysterious stuff that he was doing for Khonshu, Arthur Harrow's like backstory must have been particularly messed up, because look how freaking crazy this guy is.
This
right?
man's walking around on broken glass.
I want to see what inspired him to just go that route. So maybe they'll go, because like, okay, they're going to go now to try to free Khonshu, right? And I suspect they have to do that because they need Khonshu to do something, right? They still need something from Khonshu. right?
They need the powers, like the
They,
Moon Knight armor. Yeah.
exactly, right? So in doing that, in their journey to actually go do that, they might actually Arthur might go like, hey, you want to free this guy? You want to see the person, like this entity that you're going to try to free? Let me tell you about Khonshu and the stuff that he made me do. Right. So that might be go like,
Have a
and
little
might actually
prequel
put
moment of like Ethan Hawke in a little flashback kind
If
of
that
like
is the next
scene.
episode and they do the whole, let's put a pause on this and talk about who Khonshu really is and what the backstory is between Ethan Hawke and stuff, I'm gonna be pissed. Because if it's a
No,
full
but what if it
episode, I will be
reveals-
pissed. If
But what-
it's not a full episode, I'm okay with it. If it's like 15-20 minutes, sure. If it's a full episode, come on, man, don't do that. Don't like put a full stop on a story on such a hype moment just to bring it down to, oh hey, yeah.
But
let's
what if
talk
it
about it.
reveals like Khonshu? Like, okay, right now Khonshu is like okay, he's technically, you could say he's a good guy, one of the good guys, right? Because he's helping Marc and Steve and whatnot, right? And trying to stop Amunet from being released and whatnot. But like, it does the ends justify the means kind of thing, right? Because we might actually see like, hey, this guy is just as horrific as any other rest of them, or just as much as Amunet, right? And then we're gonna have to decide, or Steven and Marc gonna have to decide, like, do we actually still want this guy on our side? Like,
I think they
or
will,
help
because
us?
it's like Moon Knight, right? So like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
no matter what happens, Khonshu's gonna be the god that you're like, all right, he was an asshole, but like, ends kind of justify the means justify the end at the end of the day, right? So let's see. I do like his design though, because like episode 1 was very, very cool in the sense of, like we said, that they were like a psychological horror element that I was really, really digging. And it really made you live through someone who is spacing out. And like, what would that sleep disorder be like, right? Like, I really, really like that. More and more when they moved away from the psychological horror element, and they said, okay, well, now he's coming in, accepting this other personality, and Khonshu's here. Khonshu becomes a little bit more of a venom like.
Oh, that's a very good analogy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So when you see that, it more and more they're showing him. He's not like under the dark
shadowy
lights.
figure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're giving him a full, clear look of what his design looks like, and I really like his design. I think it's kind of cool.
Like, that's neat. I wonder how, like, it's the head that's the most obviously the most obvious part of bottom, right? But like, I think it's the most part of him that's in keeping of his actual design. Whenever you actually see Khonshu from like in terms of Egyptian, like his depiction in the Egyptian art, it's his head, right? It's that long beak of his head, right? And but like, it's also like his body, rest of the body's like mummy, has like wrappings all around him, right? But yeah, it is cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's actually interesting.
Okay, so Rohan, any predictions on your side?
No, that was it, man.
That's it?
About Arthur actually.
okay.
Like we
So
see
prequel.
Like, hopefully, maybe it's not like the whole entire episode, but like it really fleshes out Arthur's perspective and like his actual motivations of why he's actually doing the stuff that he's doing, right? And it shows just like how broken he is, because we get to see just how messed up the stuff that he was doing under Khonshu's control.
Fair enough. I think for me, I would really like to see. Daniel already mentioned. Who exactly is now controlling the body? I think that will give us a few answers. I want to know more about Lila. Because I think that was her mom that was making the passport. Right. So like, I really want to know a little bit more about her, because like there's a dynamic about her dad, and is she just like a Uncharted, man? I'm forgetting the Chloe. No.
Chloe, or
is it Chloe?
the other one? The British one, Chloe.
So yeah, Chloe Fraser. Is it more of a Chloe kind of situation that's like, oh, I'm not really an archaeologist, but I'm gonna go find some stuff and steal and do whatever I want to do and learn history as I want to? Or is it more of a fact that maybe she was an archaeologist, right? So I really want to know her backstory, which we'll dive into. Obviously, Mark's backstory. I want to know Steve's mom. That's what I want to know the most. I want to know who is he sending all these messages to.
There must be some aspect of it as real, because remember the first episode, it opens with, "Hey mom, I got you a postcard," and you think like he's traveling, and then when he pins it up, it's like a whole bunch of postcards.
So it could be somebody just messing with him, or
Yeah,
it could be
yeah.
people just sending him postcards for, and if he's in a mental institution, just sending him postcards. You know, keeping up with him. That could be letters. That could be anything, right? So I wanna know if it's an institution, because I'm really getting those vibes, and I hope I'm wrong. I completely hope that I'm wrong, because that would suck. Because if I guessed it, that would really suck for me. So let's see.
Yeah.
But overall, not bad, guys.
see it
It's not
going
as
that
hype
way,
as
though,
Loki.
but, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like I don't see it going that way. That's such a cop
me
out.
neither.
I really hope they don't.
But
Who knows?
I hope I'm wrong. I completely hope I'm wrong. There's a lot of things that right now would not make any sense. The glass scene and all that stuff and so forth. So it's like, okay, is he imagining this, that this is what he does every single day, or this is actually a cult? Like, there's a lot of elements that would not make any sense and say, hey, this is all in his head, right? The all in his head is a very classic trope of, oh, it was just a dream, right? In every single stupid movie. So I really hope it's not, but I don't know how they would retcon any of the story.
I have maybe another prediction, but it's a very depressing one, very dark, or
Oh,
but maybe okay. I don't think at the end of the day that two minds, let alone three, potentially could exist in the same body, especially with like so many things are at stake, right? Right, in terms of the stuff that they're doing, right? Mark and Steven doing and being Moon Knight and stuff. I don't think they're gonna keep them like have this dynamic just like be their actual character, right? Existing, coexisting, or finding a way to coexist, right, with one another. I think that eventually one of them is gonna have to sacrifice their existence to save the other somehow, right?
That's very much like Ron Gone Wrong. If you've not seen this animated movie, watch it. Ron is a computerized Apple product that is a robot that is supposed to be your best friend, but he is unique because he fell on his head and the programming doesn't work. So he's not connected to the internet. That chip is broken. So throughout the entire story, when the internet has to be revised because there's a virus between the main character and Ron sacrifices himself and becomes the internet. And gives that that filter that they all need, and now everyone is saved. So it's like, point is, I do agree that they I don't think the dynamic they can continue on. If they do, that would be crazy, because Oscar Isaac can clearly pull it off. So why not? It's a fun dynamic. Let's do that. It seems a bit exhausting, but it's Venom and Tom Hardy, right? Like, it's that dynamic. So I don't know if they'll continue that on. So if someone has to go ahead and sacrifice themselves and so forth, it seems like it's very much aligned on all these animation movies that we've seen. So
I think it would be
interesting to
Steve.
see if Oscar Isaac is playing the third person, he's got to do a third accent now.
He can pull
He's
it
got to
off.
have range.
Cuban accent. Remember, he said priest, rabbi, and what was it? The third person.
Yeah, I remember the
And
joke.
he can play all three of them, guys.
Yeah.
And third
There you
character.
Coming right out.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another prediction. He actually is playing the third guy.
Yeah.
100% right. But okay, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. That was a great discussion. Kind of led me down on memory lane as well. But great, hopefully great reveals are bound to happen. Half of the season's done. 3 episodes left. There has to be a big turnaround on episode 4, which will lead to the final penultimate and the finale episode, right? So the next episode would be the one that would should give us the answers that we're asking for. So let's see. But comment down below. Let us know what are your thoughts on episode 2 and 3. Do you think that my theory is completely off and bonkers? Let me know. I hope to God it is absolutely bonkers and not true whatsoever, because that would be depressing. But hey, who knows? Maybe it is a multiverse thing that Rohan's mentioning, or the fact is, at the end of the day, maybe it's just Marc's body and Steve's the parasite that all of a sudden the trauma that is creating from taking all the life and his little mind just got shattered. And Daniel's absolutely right in that sense. Who knows? We'll find out very soon. Also, let us know, who do you like more? Do you like Steve or Marc? Which character are you finding more entertaining? And the suit-wise, if you're going to end up impersonating one of the Moonlight costumes, which one would you wear? I really dig the suit itself. I think it's hilarious. So
It is pretty good.
Right?
And more easily doable for Halloween.
That's your Halloween costume, isn't it, Daniel?
100%. 100% it is his. Look at that smile. You know what he's going to do it. But yes, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. With that said, sending you all nothing but good vibes from your friends for AdCast 5. Ciao.
Yeah.